If you're using ChatGPT to do keyword research, you might be making a huge mistake and you don't even know it. We've all been talking a lot about doing keyword research on ChatGPT. And actually, it's amazing at brainstorming, coming up with other ways or even better ways of saying something. So it's tempting to ask it like which keywords to target for a campaign. But look at me. Don't do it. Because the thing is, it'll give you answers. And the answers look correct. And the data looks data-y. Like they look thoroughly researched and competent and believable, just like ChatGPT's brainstorming ideas. But the data is made up. It's wildly off, like consistently. ChatGPT just doesn't have that data, but for whatever reason, it feels compelled to guess. But it's not even that good with numbers to start with. And anyway, it's just garbage. To be fair, accurate keyword data is not really its shtick. That's our job. And when you're doing a marketing campaign, you're spending real time and real dollars. I mean, no big deal, but you are building the growth engine for sales and revenue. Like establishing the right priorities matters. You can't have the foundation of those campaigns be based on imaginary data. The hallucinated guidance is toxic and can potentially ripple through your campaign strategies for a long time, for forever, basically. The people working on it might not even know that the keywords you're targeting are based on some random GPT's machinations. We feel strongly about keyword data. Again, it's our kind of our whole thing. So to drive this point home, let's do a bit of compare and contrast between doing keyword research on vanilla ChatGPT 5 Pro in thinking mode versus ChatGPT with the SpyFu GPT. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so here's an example. I plug in this prompt. I run SEO for sockclub.com. We're losing traffic and want to start a Google Ads initiative to regain traffic. Need to present a strategy with volume numbers and costs for the conversion-driven campaign. Need a list of keywords with those numbers that reflect a strong purchase intent. Okay, so this is ChatGPT Pro. It thought for 2 minutes and 53 seconds, and here's what it came back with. Frankly, not a bad idea, in terms of like high level structure. But when we come down here and we start looking at what the keywords are, here's what keywords I think we should be basing this on. I mean, the thing is that it wraps it all with this pretty nice, sophisticated looking plan, and then it gives you this data that looks very data-like. But in fact, what you'll see is you've got like keywords that are actual keywords alongside intent that is in fact actual intent, but then these numbers, which it uses to prioritize everything, are just straight up manufactured, made up drivel. Okay, so I'm going to give you the least worst case scenario. First, it is let's just go look up custom socks with logo on SpyFu. When we look up custom socks with logo on SpyFu, we get a search volume of 440 searches per month. That translates to, basically the fresh search volume is 460. I'm going to plug that same thing into Ahrefs, and I get 1,300 searches per month. So triangulating it, maybe it's somewhere in the range of, like you believe us, you believe them. It's somewhere in the maybe 700, 800 range. They're saying that it is 5 to 10,000. So they're off by an order of magnitude, and that's about as good as it gets. You would expect that maybe this next one would be a little bit less. But look at this next keyword. Everything that you know about keywords, look, I've been dealing with keywords kind of like my life for like a pretty long time. And this parenthesis thing really stands out. That is not how keywords usually look. It's not how keywords are going to work out. Like, it's very uncommon for somebody to put parentheses around a keyword. It just isn't going to happen. I guarantee it. Let's put it into Ahrefs. That keyword never exists. We can remove the custom or the parentheses just to give it the benefit of the doubt. And that gets 60 searches a month. Remember, they were saying 2,000 to 6,000. We'll put that same thing into SpyFu. We'll remove the parentheses just to be as generous as we can. And we think that it's less than 20 searches a month. No fresh search volume there. It just really isn't something that people search, right? So that's like their third highest priority keyword. custom branded socks, I'm going to tell you, is who knows where, but it's not like where you would think it would be. It's probably maybe a little higher. Custom branded socks, search volume of 100. Ahrefs is going to have it at 150. As you go through here, these things, it doesn't really follow any particular pattern. All this stuff is just kind of like it's hunch. It just makes these things up, and I don't even think it's really hunching, frankly. It's just whatever, right? It goes down through here, and it's going to ultimately offer to make you some kind of like an ad campaign, but it's going to build the ad campaign based on this. Now, here's the thing. What I would think is that ChatGPT does a pretty good job of like brainstorming, right? But the thing is, what's unfortunate is it completely, because of the way that it does this, it completely misses like the real secret. And the real secret is actually personalized socks, customizable socks, custom pet socks, and face socks. That's what people want to put on their socks, is apparently personalized pictures of their pets. That's the thing. That's the secret. Now let's go have a look and see what the SpyFu GPT produces. I give it the exact same prompt, and what it does is it says, here's the high intent keyword list for sockclub.com. It pulls first sockclub.com's current list of paid keywords. We're seeing a lot of Socks Club, but we got the actual keyword list with the actual CPC data. If I put these in, personalized socks for her, we're already starting down the right path. If I put this in here, it's going to show up with the right search volume. Here's what I really like is this is real data. When we're looking at the ChatGPT one, I thought it was doing a pretty good job of figuring out this intent, right? And that's a really nice thing that ChatGPT is doing itself. But here's what's cool is that you don't lose that in the SpyFu GPT. And in fact, it even becomes sometimes more nuanced. Like it gives you a little bit more, more of that kind of analysis, the sort of, almost like human-like analysis that it's real good at. So let's plug these in. Just want you to see that this data can be backed up. 210 search volume of 210. It's got an actual CPC of $3.12. What it winds up doing then is it starts grouping these things into sort of ad groups in a really nice way, right? So here we are looking at like the B2B sort of wholesaling, manufacturing. You got like this kind of gift and personalization concept where you've got all these ideas that have to do with your pet socks and your photo socks, probably face socks, all that kind of thing. And then you got like cheap socks and subscription words. So these are great areas to kind of combine these things and start building ad groups and landing pages and so on. Ultimately, it finds like a really great opportunity towards the bottom here, expanding the personalization keyword group. So it really kind of drills into this idea of personalization. Now, remember, in SpyFu, we found that the personalization thing was actually a pretty big core keyword, but that was completely left out from when we just use ChatGPT. So it's actually going to drill in and kind of automatically discover this core idea of personalized socks and really zoom in on it, right? So you got 3,200 searches per month, like a relatively low cost, cost per click, like under $1. Let's have a look at that real quick. In SpyFu, what was that? What was it called? Personalized socks. So yeah, 3,200 searches. That's the fresh search volume is 3,000, 61 cents. Monthly cost $176. Now, this will probably be one where we can triangulate. They'll probably have this personalized socks. Yeah, so 3,500, they've got that. I don't know if they've even have CPC over in Ahrefs, but oh, here they have $1.10. So it triangulates, right? Basically, this data comes directly from Google Search, Keyword Planner. So let's keep going here, right? So we wind up finding this really great core keyword that's relatively inexpensive. Realistically, probably a better way to describe custom socks than personalized socks is probably really what people are searching for, or at least a really strong, intent, right? So here we go. We got the head intents, the demographic segments. You got the personalized socks for men, women, kids, photo socks, pet socks. Apparently, that's a big thing, right? So then it comes along with a strategic takeaway, and it's going to ultimately, if I take this further, it's going to build an overall blueprint and build the actual full Google Ads campaign. So I could just tell it yes, and it will. Right. There's our personalized photo socks. There's here's our ad subgroups, budget range. Here's our wholesale ones, right? We could start building out actual ad copy. The whole thing is completely data driven. Whereas in just ChatGPT, it'll kind of it would get you to this point where it's actually going to make the stuff for you, but it would be making it it would be building on top of just hallucination, right? It would be building on top of imagined data that doesn't exist. So obviously, how's that going to perform? Not optimally. It might perform, but it ain't going to be good, right? So that's kind of the core difference, right? It's interesting to try to detect the difference, because in the beginning, when you first look at it, you're like, yeah, this looks pretty good. It actually feels pretty good, but you start to see little chips in its armor, and then you're like, you double check it, and you're like, dang it, this feels good, and I want it to be right because it'll take you down a whole path. But anyway, you don't have to worry about that anymore because you have this thing. It's free and you can use it all you like. And it makes a huge difference. I hope you love it.